Peace to everyone. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays for Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. My name is Errol C. Mango, and every Wednesday at noon Eastern, we go live to discuss current events in the financial markets. So as you guys come in, let us know where you're from. Today, I wanted to discuss several things. I've got several articles I wanted to share, a lot going on in the financial markets. I wanted to share some YouTube shorts. I wanted to share earnings. I wanted to share what's going on in the crypto markets as well. So that's what the plan is today. So as you come in, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're from. I'm looking at the market here right quick. So I'm seeing a mix of red and green. I'm seeing a mix of red and green so far today. I see Bitcoin at 70,000. I see Apple at 260. I see the NASDAQ at 606. I see the S&P at 673. The SPY at 673. That's what I'm currently looking at. All right, so let's see what we got. Let me share my screen. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Let me show you. Actually, what I'm going to do is share my FinViz heat map. Here we go. Here is my FinViz heat map. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, so there's your mix of red and green today. Okay, some of the mega caps, NVIDIA, Google, Tesla. So far, green today. Everything else looks red today. So Meta's down, Apple's down, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, Walmart. That's where we stand right now. Okay, Palantir down 1%, Broadcom down 0.6%. Berkshire Hathaway down a little bit. Johnson & Johnson. ExxonMobil. Okay, ExxonMobil has been in the news recently. Up 1.61%. So that is the one-day performance. That's where we currently stand as of 12:02 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, March 11th. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. All right, so that's where we stand as of right now. I want to get right into some of these articles. Let me go to my social. I want to share my social. I want to share my LinkedIn. There's a couple articles I saw on LinkedIn. Pretty interesting. I want to get right to them. Let's get right to them. All right, here's one I saw. Where was it? Yeah, Meta. I saw this headline yesterday. Meta buys Moltbook social network geared for AI agents. Okay, let's see what's going on with Meta. Meta has acquired Moltbook, a social network built for AI agents to enhance interactions among autonomous systems. Its creators will join Meta's super intelligence labs, with the deal expected to be finalized by mid-March. Moltbook enables AI agents to communicate and evolve independently of human input. Wow. It was designed to run in concert with OpenClaw, previously known as Claude and Moltbot, but OpenAI hired OpenClaw creator Peter last month. Okay, this is news if you are a Meta shareholder. Here's some news for you. For AI to AI interaction, they don't require a user base. They acquired a coordination layer for autonomous systems that are still being built. Okay, so Meta, this deal tells you where mergers and acquisition strategies is heading. The acquirers who will win the next decade won't be buying revenue multiples. They will be buying infrastructure positions. Okay, so Meta. All right, let's take a look at this Routers headline. All right, let me stop sharing that one. Let me see if I can share this Routers headline. Let's see if it gives us a little more detail. All right, here it is. Meta acquires AI agent social network Moltbook. All right, let's see what this article says. Let me see if I can find it first. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Said on Tuesday it had acquired Moltbook social media. Okay. The development signals an intense race among tech giants to snap up AI talent and technology as autonomous agents capable of executing real-world tasks move forward from novelty to the next frontier of the industry. Okay, so let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. All right, let's see what else this says. The deal will bring multiple co-founders into Meta Superintelligence Labs. All right, they are expected to begin at Meta Superintelligence Labs on March 16th, which is next week. Meta did not disclose financial terms. Mopic, a Reddit-like site where AI-powered bots appear to swap code and discuss and gossip about their human owners, was started as a niche experiment in late January. Oh wow, this is a brand new company. 2 months old, 3 months old. It has since become a center of a growing debate on how close computers are to possessing human-like intelligence. Sam Altman played down the site as a likely fad, but said the underlying tech offered a glimpse for the future. Mopuk maybe is a passing fad, but OpenClaw is not, Altman said. Last month, the creator of OpenClaw in an open source bot formerly known as is backing the project's open sourcing. Okay. This guy said most people are not yet ready to give full autonomy over their computers. Are you ready to give AI full autonomy over your computer? They said this guy's a champion vibe coding, building programs with the help of AI, saying he didn't write one line of code for the site. Molebook's rise also brought risks. Cybersecurity firm Wiz said the approach left a major flaw that exposed private messages, more than 6,000 email addresses, and more than 1 million credentials. Okay, wow. So looks like they're still working on some of the kinks. Okay, but Meta has acquired this company called Moltbook. Okay, Meta acquires Moltbook. All right, so interesting article right there. Okay, for all you Meta shareholders, you might want to keep an eye on that. Let's go back to LinkedIn. Let's check out some more interesting headlines I saw. All right, let's go back. All right, another couple articles I wanted to talk about here. So, okay, inflation, we're going to talk about that shortly. The CPI report came out this morning. Target cuts prices on over 3,000 items. Let's see. Oracle stock jumps after surprise let's check this one out. Oracle stock jumps after surprise $90 billion revenue forecast. All right, let's check this one. Oracle shares surged pre-market Wednesday after the software giant boosted its 2027 revenue forecast to $90 billion, citing booming demand for AI and advanced compute. The company is also adopting more AI internally to boost efficiency. Okay, let's pause right there. The company is also adopting more AI internally to boost efficiency. Okay, so if the companies you're investing in aren't already doing this, if your company isn't already doing this, it's only a matter of time. Oracle, one of the biggest companies in the world, is adopting more AI internally to boost efficiency, a move that's led to smaller product development teams and $150 million in restructuring costs for the latest quarter. Many investors remain wary about the firm's ability to hit its lofty AI goals, and Oracle stock is down more than 20% so far in 2026. All right, so if you like Oracle, maybe this is the time to invest in Oracle. Okay, what's Oracle's price? Anyone know Oracle's price right now? Maybe we can look it up. Let me take a quick look on what Oracle price is. Let me pull up my phone right here. Oracle is currently 164. Okay, it shot up 10% today. 165 now. Oracle is currently 165. Okay, Oracle. All right, so let's see if we got any more interesting headlines here from LinkedIn. Airlines hike prices to cope with whipsawing oil prices. Okay, we're going to talk about oil prices in a bit. Airlines were raising their fares in the face of volatile oil prices sparked by the Iran war. Hiked prices on the international flights by an average of 5%, while Air India added a fuel surcharge. Jet fuel is airlines' second biggest expense, and it's a tough one to pass on onto passengers because fare increases generally depress demand. For each 10% bump in full year average jet fuel cost per gallon, the U.S.-based airlines can expect to lose as much as 20% in earnings per share. Okay, so something to keep an eye on, these oil prices. All right. Okay, so a few interesting headlines from LinkedIn here. What do you guys think about that? Let me stop sharing that. Stop sharing there. All right, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Any comments or questions on the oil prices? I do have a article from Saudi Aramco CEO I wanted to share. I'll share that shortly. But you know what I want to get into right now? I want to get into this morning. You might have seen the CPI report. Let's talk CPI report. Let's see here. All right, inflation breakdown. CPI report came out this morning. Here's the inflation breakdown for February in one chart. Okay, it's an article from CNBC. Okay, this morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, the latest CPI report came out. CPI index rose 2.4% in February from a year earlier, unchanged. Still slightly above the policymaker long-term inflation target. Okay, let's see what they got going on here. Inflation remained above policymakers' target in February, largely on the back of tariffs that are still working their way through the household's wallet. CPI key inflation gauge rose 2.4% in February from a year earlier. That's unchanged and was in line with analysts' expectations. Federal Reserve's aims for a long-term inflation rate of 2% using a different but related inflation measure. I don't get any sense of that inflation is decelerating. It feels like it's uncomfortable and persistently high. Inflation is stubbornly high, especially for necessities such as electricity, food, apparel, medical care, and housing. And of course, this is all before the fallout from the events in the Middle East. Okay, rising energy prices. In that sense, CPI report is a bit stale at this point. Okay, so this is already outdated. It's not incorporating what is the most important macroeconomic shock right now. So here's a breakdown. U.S. inflation by category. Food, energy. Okay, so you see gas. Okay, gas of all types is down overall. Electricity is up. What do we have here? Non-alcoholic beverages and materials is up. What else do we have here? Piped gas service is up. What else? Okay, airline fares up. Motor vehicle maintenance and repair up. For all you mechanics, there's your side hustle. Okay, medical care services. Rent of primary residence. Okay, so those are up. Used cars and trucks are down, actually. Let's see here. Inflation impact of the war in Iran. It's unclear how much the war in Iran will add to inflation. The war has caused global oil prices to spike, leading prices for gas, diesel, jet fuel, and other products refined from crude oil to surge too. That's because the conflict has choked off oil supply through the Persian Gulf, a major corridor for global energy exports, amounting to the biggest oil supply disruption in history. Okay, so oil price benchmark touched 120 per barrel on Monday, up from 70 before the attacks. It's since declined from its recent peak to around 90 per barrel. Average gas prices hit $3.50 on Monday. Okay, $3.50, highest level since 2024. Households could see prices rise elsewhere, economists say. jet fuel, higher airfares, more expensive diesel could feed into elevated food prices due to increased costs of transport to the grocery store. Okay, so this guy says, I think the Fed sits on its hands and doesn't move, in significant part because of the uncertainty created by the war. Impact depends on length, scale, and supply shock. All right. Okay, so CPI came out this morning. Okay, CPI, latest CPI report for February came out this morning, early this morning. Okay, inflation breakdown for last month, and this is a few hours ago. Okay, so what do you guys think about 2.4%? Unchanged from January, unchanged CPI. Okay, so that was this morning. Latest inflation report. What do you guys think about that? 2.4%. Let's see what we got. All right, who do we got? We got my guy Garnell. Morning, Garnell. Okay, Maryland in the building. We have Sheila, also from Maryland, in the building. Welcome to everyone. All right, a couple other headlines I wanted to share. But before I get into that, I'm working on for those of you in the options market. I'm working on a presentation regarding management. Okay, I want to deep dive into options position management. So that's what I'm working on right now. Specifically, I'm working on how to manage a couple of the advanced strategies. Those of you that use the coverage strangle, those of you that use the iron condor, those of you that use, say, a straddle, coverage strangle and its variations. Okay, iron condor and its variations. I'm working on a presentation on how to manage some of these advanced strategies. So if you're interested in some of these advanced strategies, how to manage them, having the asset is one thing, managing the asset is something completely different. So I'm actually working on that right now. If you guys are interested in that training, how to manage some of these advanced trainings, just check me out on my website, errolcmango.com. You guys can always book a consult with me if you believe that'll be beneficial. If you believe that'll be mutually beneficial, check me out at my website, errolcmango.com. Again, I'm working on trainings on how to manage some of these advanced strategies. Okay, so that's my website right there, errolcmango.com. Check me out. All right, let's see what else we got. What else do I got for you? Okay, so those of you in the crypto markets, I read an article on Yahoo Finance that I wanted to share. So here's a Bitcoin milestone that just occurred. Let's get to Yahoo Finance right here. Let's get to Yahoo Finance. Let's see what we got. Bitcoin crosses 20 million Bitcoin milestone, leaving 1 million coins left to mine. So this is an article from yesterday morning. Bitcoin crosses 20 million BTC milestone, leaving 1 million coins left to mine. So it looks like 20 million have been mined. Bitcoin crossed the 20 million circulating supply threshold early Tuesday morning, leaving fewer than 1 million coins remaining to be mined. Despite many news outlets announcing this milestone on Monday, a historical deficit of roughly 518 permanently destroyed coins delayed the actual event until Tuesday morning. The 518. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see. Let me scroll down here. Okay, miners permanently lost hundreds of coins by accidentally claiming less than their full block. Okay. All right, so let's see here. This guy discussed early mining anomalies and protocol vulnerabilities in a February 2026. All All right. Bitcoins to be mined supply is programmatically reduced roughly every 4 years in what is known as halving. So the last halving occurred in what, April 2024. So we're now almost 2 years later. Okay, so we're about 2 years since the last halving, and we're 2 years until the next halving. The halving mechanism dictates the block reward will continue to reduce by 50% every 210,000 blocks. This issuance schedule ensures that the remaining supply enters circulation at a consistently decreasing rate. The last halving, which will reduce the Bitcoin block subsidy to zero, is expected to occur around the year 2140. Okay, so Bitcoin, 20 million Bitcoins have been mined. 20 million Bitcoins have now been mined. So what is that? 95% of the supply has been mined. 5% have not been mined. All right. Okay, so that's actually Bitcoin right there. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. All right, so yeah, like I said, 95% of the supply has been mined. 5% of the supply has not been mined. Okay. Actually, let me go to Google right quick. Let me stop sharing that. Let me go to Google. Let me share my Google. Let's see if we can find another article on that. Share my screen. Let's go to Google. Share. All right, let's see if we can just look up Bitcoin 20 million. Let's see if we can go news. The block Bitcoin's mine supply hits 20 million milestone, leaving final 1 million Bitcoin to be issued over the next 114 years. Okay, so the next 1 million Bitcoin will be issued over the next 114 years. Bitcoin network mines 20 millionth coin. Supply passes 20 million milestone with fewer than 1 million coins left. Bitcoin reaches 20 million supply milestone as final coins set to take 114 years to mine. Okay, so this is a milestone I saw yesterday. Interesting milestone for Bitcoin. Okay, 20 million coins have now been mined. All right, let's see. All right, let's take a trip to YouTube. Let's take a field trip to YouTube. But there's a couple of shorts I wanted to share too. Several interesting shorts here on Yahoo Finance's short page. Okay, so several of them on oil prices, gas prices, inflation. Let's check what this one.
2.3% was the month-over-month change in the consumer price index, or CPI. Core CPI coming in at 0.2%. That too, bang in line with estimates. Year over year at 2.4%, and core CPI year over year at 2.5%. So all of this is in line with what economists have been predicting. That core CPI number month over month with that 0.2% gain is a little bit of a deceleration from January, where we saw a gain of 0.3%. So those are the overall numbers here. And this comes amidst a backdrop that makes these numbers maybe a little less relevant or a lot less relevant, depending on your perspective. And that, of course, is the war in Iran and the ripple effects on the energy market, which in turn is raising concerns about what the eventual feed through to inflation is going to be, depending on how long that conflict lasts. 2.3% was the month over month change.
Right. 2.4, like we discussed on the inflation. Let's see. Let's check this one. Electric flying taxis are about to take flight in 26 states. Let me go back to those states. Okay, let's pause right here. Okay. Electric air taxis are about to take flight in 26 states. Let's check the list. Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Cali, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, New York. Okay, wow. New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Florida, NC, Virginia, West Virginia, Illinois. Electric air taxis. Okay, so let me and this is from the Department of Transportation. Okay, so let me try to make some sense of this. Okay, so electric air taxis. New York, Florida, California. Okay, the top three states, in my opinion, right there. Okay, New York, California, and Florida. Okay, the three most key states in America, in my opinion, right there. Electric air taxis are about to take flight in 26 states. Huh. All right, let's. Project includes urban air taxi services, regional passenger transportation, short takeoff and landing, cargo and logistics networks, emergency medical response operations, autonomous flight techs, offshore and energy sector transportation. Okay. Yeah. Cargo and logistics networks, emergency medical response operations. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, a clear sign right there. A clear sign right there. We are in the future. Okay, welcome to the future. Clear sign we are in the future. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, let's check CNBC. There we go. All right, let's check their shorts page. See if they got any interesting shorts here. Let's check this one right here. K-shaped economy puts pressure on women as lower pay and a higher cost reduce spending.
The latest jobs data from the Labor Department highlights a widening split in the K-shaped economy, not only by income, but also gender. The unemployment rate for women held steady for the first 2 months of 2026 at 4.1%, according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But that figure masks the sharp rise in Latina and Black women who are out of work, and the pay disparity in the type of jobs that women hold. Women joined the labor market at nearly 3 times the rate of men last year, reversing a trend from the past 3 years, driven by an increase in jobs in education and healthcare, where women hold more than 3/4 of those jobs. Yet these job gains have not translated into greater pay. With fewer open roles, wage increases for men and women have fallen. The so-called job change premium, that extra pay boost that workers typically get when they switch jobs, has declined. Women's pay raises are less than half of what they were in 2019, according to the Bank of America Institute. They analyzed 70 million consumer and business accounts and found that women's spending has also slowed. Affordability pressures and the pay squeeze have resulted in women being more selective when shopping for clothes and seeking value when shopping for groceries, dining out, and traveling too.
Interesting short there from CNBC. Let's check this one. Microsoft backs Anthropic in Pentagon blacklist battle.
Microsoft making what, in this environment, arguably is a very unusual move. It is backing Anthropic in its AI startups fight with the Pentagon, which is more broadly with the Trump administration. In a court filing, Microsoft, in what's called an amicus brief, which is a friend of the court, effectively, saying a judge should issue a temporary restraining order that would block the Defense Department's designation of Anthropic as a supply chain risk for all existing contracts. Without an order, Microsoft warning that it and other companies would have to act quickly to change existing product and contract configurations used by the Pentagon. In November, Microsoft announced plans to invest up to $5 billion in Anthropic. It's worth noting a couple things here. There's about 130 developers in Silicon Valley that have also filed a friend of the court amicus brief in support of Anthropic. No other major tech company has done such a thing. I mean, we talk about,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's kind of surprising in my opinion that one that a company of Microsoft's size would actually pick a side like this. So that was a little bit surprising to me. All right, let's go back. All right, let's check one more, and then let's move on. Let's check Business Insider. Let's see if we can find some interesting ones from Business Insider. Check their short page right quick. Anything interesting here? Oil futures surge past 100 a barrel for the first time in 3.5 years. Okay, this is actually, let's talk about this one. Government shutdown.
If you're flying through U.S. airports this week, you might need to arrive up to 5 hours early. Across the country, travelers are reporting long security wait times as the partial government shutdown continues to impact airport staffing. Because TSA workers are federal employees, the ongoing funding dispute in Congress has left many workers either underpaid or missing paychecks entirely. This has resulted in financial strain for workers and increasing staff callouts, which means that fewer agents are available to run security checkpoints. March is one of the busiest travel periods of the year thanks to spring break. On Sunday alone, nearly 2.8 million passengers passed through TSA checkpoints, the busiest day since early January. At Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport, travelers were told to arrive 3 hours before their flights because security delays could stretch up to 2 hours. Meanwhile, at William P. Hobby Airport in Houston, officials advised passengers to show up 4 to 5 hours early, warning that wait times could exceed 180 minutes. Travelers have been posting photos and videos online, showing lines stretching into parking garages and packed terminals. The disruption isn't uniform everywhere. Major airports, including Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Boston, and New York, reported shorter wait times on Monday morning, but officials warned that those times could climb quickly. Until the dispute in Congress is resolved, the staffing shortages and long airport lines could continue. If you want to keep up with the latest...
Very interesting. Okay, so those of you traveling this week, just be prepared. Just be prepared. Okay, 4 or 5 hours, that's crazy. 3 hours, that's crazy. All right, what else do we have? All right, shorts. We're good on the shorts today. We're good on the shorts. All right. Anyone traveling this week? Anyone traveling this week? Let us know. Anyone traveling this week? Anyone traveling this week? Let us know. Let us know. I got to travel up north tomorrow, so hopefully I won't have to be waiting 4 or 5 hours in the lineups tomorrow. All right, what else I got for you? Let's see what else I got for you. Let me stop sharing that. Earnings. Let's talk earnings right quick. Let's talk earnings. What companies report earnings this week? Let's take a look. All right, here's a graphic from Earnings Whisper. Here are this week's earnings. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so a lot of companies reporting earnings this week. Earlier this week, what do we have? Beta Technologies, Casey's, HP, no, Hewlett, yeah, HPE. Yesterday, Neo, Kohl's, Oracle, Loan Depot. Today, Campbell's. What else? Petco. Okay, tomorrow, Adobe after close. Ulta after close. Okay, so the biggest names on this list, in my opinion, are Oracle and Adobe. Oracle and Adobe. So let's look at earnings this week. Earnings this week, week of March 9th. Week of March 9th. All right, so let's see what else we got. All right, so if you're a shareholder in any of these companies, keep an eye out for earnings. Keep an eye out for earnings. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a trip to one of my favorite financial resources, and that is CNN Business. Let's take a look at CNN Business. Check some headlines on CNN Business. All right. Okay. All right. NCAA. Come on now. All right. Let's see what. Why emergency oil releases won't fix this crisis. The U.S. stock market may have been right all along about Iran. Anthropic sues Trump administration after it was designated a supply chain risk. All right. This is the biggest oil disruption in history. Tracking gas and oil prices as the war escalates. Inflation held firm last month, but the war with Iran could change that. When will the prices at the pump start to fall? Let's see what else we got. Credit bureaus are leaving more mistakes on frustrated consumer reports under Trump's. All right, we talked about Meta buying social network AI bot. What was it Meltbook? What was it Meltbook? All right, let's take a look at this one. When will prices at the pump start falling? Let's take a look. Global oil prices have fallen well below their recent peak, but don't expect to see relief at the pump in upcoming days. The war with Iran virtually closed the Strait of Hormuz, choking off about a fifth of the world's oil. However, prices tumbled by 12% on Tuesday after Trump said he expected the war to end very soon. Futures were slightly higher again in Wednesday morning trading, but nowhere close to the nearly 120 oil was briefly trading for earlier. Okay. Americans also pay for refining and shipping gas as well as a variety of taxes. The cost of a barrel of crude is just one component that goes into setting the price at your local gas station. There's an old expression, gas prices go up like a rocket and come down like a feather. Okay, so here we go. Wednesday, $3.58 per gallon. $3.58 per gallon. The math behind your gas prices. Crude oil is a primary component. Oil is transported to refineries, which break down the crude into component parts, roughly half of which ends up as gas. Most of the rest is typically made into diesel and jet fuel. Finished gas is then stored and brought to terminals via tankers, barges, or pipelines, which fill tankers, trucks that deliver the gas to gas stations. Okay. On top of that, there are transportation and marketing costs as well as a variety of taxes. Marketing costs? I didn't know there's marketing costs. Nobody has to market to me to fill up my car when it's on E. Let's see what else we have. Time of year can also affect prices at gas stations. Starting in March, retailers switched to a more expensive summer blend of gas that's designated to fight smog. Because of that, high point for gas prices in recent years come in mid-April as people drive more in the spring. However, profit margins typically are squeezed when gas prices rise rapidly. They have less money, and because the higher gas prices put them in a bad mood. That's bad for retail. All right, so interesting headline here from CNN Business. Okay, it also depends on what state, right? Each state has pretty much its own average price. California, I know, is out of control, or has been out of control in the past. Okay, countries agree on historic release of crude reserves to lower oil and gas prices. London. Member countries of the IFA unanimously agreed on Wednesday to release 400 million of barrels of oil into the global market, largest release of emergency oil stocks in history. The market to offset supply loss through effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, let's see what else. Major action aiming to alleviate the immediate impacts of disruption. Despite the eye-catching size of the latest agreed release, the move may do little to offset an even bigger oil supply shock from a near shutdown. The near blockade means that some 50 million barrels of crude oil and 5 million barrels of other oil products are choked off. That will fall short of compensating for a lost supply and leave few options to tame prices. Oil prices seesaw. Something to keep an eye on, okay? Something to keep an eye on here. Okay, let's see what else we got. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? All right, let's see. Okay, so let's see here. Howard says, traveling at the end of the month to LAX, scheduled flight at 5:30, hopefully shorten the wait. Don't expect long lines this time. All right, traveling at the end of the month to Los Angeles, scheduled flight 5:30 a.m. Okay, yeah, hopefully you won't be waiting 4 or 5 hours. Okay, hopefully not even 3 hours. Hopefully 3 minutes, Howard. Okay, so Howard says, purchased an oil industry ETF, chill, smile, and relax. Okay, Howard. Shout out to Howard. All right, speaking of oil, I got a article from Saudi Aramco CEO. Let's see what he's saying. Aramco CEO warns of catastrophic consequences. Let's see what he says here. Let's see if I can share this correctly. Okay. Aramco CEO warns of catastrophic consequences if oil crisis continues. Saudi Aramco CEO Amin Nasser warned that further disruptions to global energy supply could provide catastrophic tensions in the Middle East continue to escalate. Underscoring the precarious nature of the situation, Nasser said in comments to analysts and investors on Tuesday morning that the Iran war is the biggest crisis in the region's oil and gas industry, the biggest crisis the industry has faced. Disruption caused a severe chain reaction, if not only shipping and insurance, but there's also drastic domino effect on aviation, agriculture, automotive, and other industries. There would be catastrophic consequences for the world's oil markets the longer the disruption goes on, and the more drastic the consequences for the global economy. The pipeline has a capacity of up to 7 million barrels per day, and Aramco should be reaching capacity within a couple of days. Okay. Tuesday morning, the UAE announced that the government was taking its Ruwais refinery, which can process around that many barrels per day, offline, adding to litany of closures across the Middle East. And in the oil fields, shut-ins throughout Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and UAE, roughly 6.7 million barrels per day of lost production, equivalent to around 6% of global supply. Okay, meanwhile, Trump administration signaled further beef. Okay, more beef on the way. Okay. This is an article I saw from Yahoo Finance yesterday. All right, let's take a trip to Yahoo Finance. Let's see what's going on. Yahoo Finance. Let's check some other headlines here. Striker shares fall as report on suspected Iran-linked cyber attack. Striker shares fall after report on suspected Iran-linked cyber attack. Oh, let's go back. Let's maybe check that article right there. Come on. Oh, okay. Look, it's got the lag. See if I can click that. Let's see if we can read this article. All right, let's see. Okay, March 11th. Stryker's shares fell above 3% on Wednesday after Wall Street reported that the medical equipment maker was hit by a suspected Iran-linked cyber attack. The company has experienced a global outage across. Oh, okay, so these boys ain't playing. These boys ain't playing. The company has experienced a global outage across its systems. Staff and contractors have claimed that the logo of an Iran-linked hacking group has appeared on the login pages, the report said. Okay. Writers could not immediately verify. The company staff found that the remote devices running Microsoft Windows operating system, such as cell phones, laptops, and others configured to connect to Stryker's tech systems, have been wiped. Stryker did not immediately respond. Okay, the logo of these people appeared on a logo login page. Okay, all right. So another thing to keep an eye on. Okay, Stryker and Iran. Okay, Stryker allegedly is the target of a cyber attack from Iran. Allegedly. Okay, let's keep an eye on that. All right, let me go back. All right, I'm going back too fast or too slow. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, gas goes up like a rock. Okay, all right, so some other headlines here from Yahoo Finance. Actually, let's check this. Let's see if this video will play right quick. Let's check if this video will play right quick. Okay, we're muting the ad. We're muting the ad. Okay, no free ad. No free ad. Okay, cut us a check, Yahoo Finance. Cut us a check. We'll let you play the video. All right, come on. Can I fast forward this? Okay, no free game. Cut us that check, Yahoo Finance. All right, here we go. Prudential, cut us that.
Breaking news here. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Stryker, the big medical technology company, has been hit with a suspected Iran-linked cyber attack. Again, this is according to the Wall Street Journal. The outages on the company's various login pages, according to the Journal, began shortly after midnight on the East Coast. And when people went to log in, apparently they saw some sort of logo associated with Iran. Now, as we know, as this war has been ongoing, this is something that had been a fear of Iran's adversaries in the West, that potentially there would be these kinds of cyber attacks. This is the first instance that I have heard of one actually potentially happening here, but certainly there is the concern for this to be broader here. Stryker, for its part, makes a lot of different kinds of medical technology. It makes devices that go into hospitals, that go into surgical settings here, joint replacement implants. So when we've got the login here being affected, unclear what the implications potentially are here. But the company said it is engaged with Microsoft to try to resolve these outages that we are seeing. We're going to keep monitoring it. The shares are down about 3%, but we should be on the lookout for other potential instances like this as this war goes on.
Here's another one. Musk is number one on Forbes list. Billionaires list. 600 billion.
One sheet of bounty versus one.
No free game bounty. No free ads. No free ads. Send us that check. Send us that check. Let's see what we got.
Elon Musk making the top of the list yet again. His net worth
What did clock in at?
boomed $839 billion. Just
$839 billion net worth. Larry Page 257. Sergey Brin 237. Bezos 224. Zuckerberg 222. Zuckerberg just bought a mega mansion in one of the most exclusive parts of Miami You might have known just recently. Zuckerberg 222, Elon 839. Let me hold something.
A small pace ahead of Larry Page there. But he once again made this top mark, in large part due to the rise in both Tesla stock and also the value of his company SpaceX.
Look at the gap on that, by the way.
Huge gap, right? Yeah. And others to make the list. One that stood out to me was also the Walton family. Rob, Jim, and Alice all made some of the top components. And get this, I did the math last year when I did a story about one of the Walmart heirs, Stuart Walton. And at the time, based upon how much stock the family had in the company, it was worth about $330 billion. That pretty much same amount of stock that they have in the company now, worth a whopping 440 plus billion. And so definitely goes to show a lot of these executives' money is tied up in the companies as well.
Well, off camera, what did you say about the Kardashians? What was going on?
I sure did. So Kim Kardashian was the only Kardashian.
All right, we ain't worried about no Kardashian. Okay, that's where I gotta pause it. All right, let me stop sharing that. Okay. All right, let me check a couple of other ones. Let's check what Business Insider has to say. Actually, let me go to Business Insider. All right, let's see here. Let me share Business Insider. Check some headlines on Business Insider. Let's see what we got. There you go. Okay, there you go. Howard Schultz is the latest billionaire to ditch the West Coast for Miami. Okay, New World City, Miami, Florida. Okay, New World City, the latest World City, Miami, Florida. Let's see what's going on here. Latest billionaire to ditch the West Coast for Miami. Let's see. Let me see if I can pause all these things here. Former Starbucks CEO worth a whole lot, according to Bloomberg, is leaving Seattle of his home 44 years for Miami. Wrote on LinkedIn post, "We are enjoying the sunshine of South Florida and its allure to our kids on the East Coast as they raise families on their own." Okay. Let's see here. Oh, come on. All right. They won't let me read. Okay. Okay. Similar story for Bezos. Similar story for Zuckerberg the last few years. All right. Let's see what else we got. And Trump's up the street in Palm Beach. All right. Let's see what else we got. All right. Okay. I've got an article on Google I want to share. I bombed my first interview at Google so badly it took 3 years to get another one. Oh, she got lucky. Only 3 years. Let's see here. All right, so Business Insider. Check Business Insider every so often. Let's check CNBC. CNBC. Let's see. Okay, release record 400 million barrels of oil. Stocks making big moves today. Oracle, Nebius, Campbell's, Serve Robotics, and Cadre. Nebius pops 14% on NVIDIA $2 billion investment. All right, let's check Forbes right quick. Let's see what's going on with Forbes. The richest billionaire in each country. Let's see. Iran warns oil could reach 200 per barrel. Google and OpenAI staff unite behind Anthropic as it sues the Pentagon. All right, I saw an article on that one. Okay, Starbucks billionaire Howard Schultz paid $44 million for Florida penthouse. Okay. All right, let me see if I can read that one right quick. See if it lets me read this. Let's see if it lets me read. Does it let me read? All these damn pop-ups and such. Just let me read, man. Let me read. All right, let's see here. 5,500 square foot residence of 5 bedrooms and rooftop terrace comes with an oceanfront cabana. Enjoying the sunshine of South Florida. New key market in America, last 5 years. Okay, here we go. Surf Club, Four Seasons private residence in Surfside. Okay, Surfside. It's Surfside, about 15 miles north of Miami. Okay, Surfside is Dade County. Shout out to Dade County. Shout out to Dade County. Shout out to Broward County. Shout out to Palm Beach County. All right. Okay, check this. Check this. Schultz Jones, a handful of billionaires who have moved to Florida in the last 6 months. Okay, so if you're a business owner, okay, consider some kind of presence in Florida. Okay, if you're a business owner, if you're an aspiring business owner, if you do business, if you're aspiring to do business, consider doing business in Florida. Okay, it's no coincidence all these big boys do business in Florida. Okay, check this. California. Okay, California is yesterday's news. Today, Florida. Today, Florida is the news. Earlier this year, Meta founder Zuckerberg and his wife reportedly spent $170 million on a newly built waterfront mansion in Indian Creek, the billionaire's bunker by locals in South Florida. Okay, Larry Page, same thing. Coconut Grove, upscale Miami neighborhood. Brian was just, I think he was just on that Forbes list a minute ago. Miami's exclusive Allison Island. Okay, Peter Thiel. Okay, the list goes on. Okay, Florida is the key state to do business. Florida is the key state to do business. Okay, America's top executives. America's top executives have a presence in Florida. All right, there's the proof. There's the proof. All the big boys operate in Florida. All the big boys operate in Florida. All right, what else we got on Forbes? What else we got on Forbes? Okay, I saw this headline right here. Google and OpenAI staff. Let's check this one. 30 employees, including Google's chief scientist, filed. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Monday. All right, let's make this a little bit bigger. Monday, Anthropic filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration challenging the Pentagon's move to label the AI behemoth a supply chain risk, placing it on the national security blacklist that blocks federal agencies from using its tools, following a high-stakes public dispute over usage restrictions on its tech. Okay. Rivals besides OpenAI, which ended up winning the contract, also see Anthropic's situation as an opportunity to make inroads with the government. Okay. All right, so another thing to keep an eye on. Google and OpenAI staff unite behind Anthropic as it sues the Pentagon. Okay, I don't anticipate suing the Pentagon will go well, but we'll see what happens. All right. Okay, Trump. Crypto cash core filings have combined to make America's billionaire in chief much richer over the past year. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see what Trump is doing. Let's see what Trump is doing. How much Trump is worth. All right, second term as president paid off so far handsomely. All right, crypto coins, hosting luminaries. What else? Trump is still sitting on millions of crypto tokens. Also, a major boost last August when the appeals court threw out the civil penalty. Okay. Other personal assets belonging to Trump have flourished as people. Okay, what else? Okay, Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach in the building. Okay, I was driving in Palm Beach last weekend. They shut down the whole A1A. Once that war with Iran broke out, they shut down the whole street. Can't even drive north on A1A. Okay, what else they got? Mar-a-Lago is pretty dope property though. Okay, property is now worth $550 million, up from $340 last year. All right. Okay. So, okay, Trump be trumping. Okay, Trump be trumping. Okay, Trump be trumping. All right. Let's see. All right. All right. So another interesting article from Forbes right there. All right. 1:01 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look at the market right quick before we wrap. Let's see what's going on in the market. Before we wrap, let me share my screen here. Let me share my screen. Here's where things currently stand. Here's where things currently stand. Let's see what we got. Okay, S&P just slightly down, NASDAQ just slightly up, Bitcoin 70,600, Ethereum 2,069, Meta 653, NVIDIA 185. Okay, that's where we stand as of 1:01 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. All right. So today we talked about a lot. We talked about Meta's acquisition. We talked about beef between Anthropic and the Pentagon. We talked about several headlines, of course, crude oil and what's going on in the Middle East. My name's Errol, and I'll check you out again next week, Wednesday at noon Eastern. Until then, keep doing your thing. Peace.